Hello everyone, James here from Northeast, and I'm here today to talk to you about retirement planning. Now, if you're lucky enough to have the opportunity to plan for retirements properly, then there is a right way to do it and there is a wrong way. The wrong way is to continue doing what you're doing all the way up until the day that you retire and then say, okay, what's left and we'll make do with that. The right way is to, from the very beginning, say, well, what sort of retirement do we want? What do we want our lifestyle to look like? What are the sort of things I'm going to enjoy in retirement? How much travel would I like to take? Do I want to take a caravan around the country? All of those things which then allow us to be able to dial in and say, we think you're going to need about this much money in retirement. And that's certainly something that a financial advisor can support you with. Once we have a sense for what your retirement is going to look like, from there we can start to work out, all right, what are your cash flow considerations, and therefore what sort of assets are you going to need in order to really confidently fund that lifestyle over the long term? Or if there are compromises, then where do they exist? There are a number of factors that you need to consider when looking at retirement planning. I mean, the most obvious ones that stand out are, how do we build assets right up until the point where we do retire? A. B, when is the right time to retire? Of course, the longer that you work, that's more time that you've got to build your asset base. And it's also less time that you're going to be eroding your asset base by relying on your savings. In addition to that, the tax considerations. Retirement planning is a wonderfully fertile place for tax minimization if you know what to do. So certainly some tremendous value in seeking advice there. Your risk profile is going to change. As someone in your 30s or 40s, you're likely to be quite an aggressive investor inside your superannuation, as well you should be. But when you move to your 50s, when you move to your 60s, well, maybe you can't sustain those swings anymore. If you are looking at retirement, you would have invariably experienced the GFC, the COVID crash that we had, perhaps the dot-com crash of 2000. And when we had those events, you would have seen what that did to your savings, your retirement savings. If we were to have another event like that next year, for example, would you be able to withstand that sort of volatility in your portfolio? The answer may very well be no. And then the last major consideration for us is around benchmarking. It's the idea of saying, well, hence retirement planning is to say, well, we want you to be at this particular point at this particular date because that's your retirement date that you've set. And so now we need to track that and make sure that year in, year out, we're making the most of every opportunity we're actually going to get to that level. And if we can get to it earlier, then so be it. But the critical thing is getting there. And then that enables you to be able to retire with confidence and do more of what you love. Thank you, everyone. Chat soon.